Hello, hello. Welcome to today's episode. Yes. I was sitting here this morning and something I've been learning about myself as a visionary and someone who has been working so hard to go after a dream and a vision, even despite what I was told growing up that foster kids, their voices don't matter. It's how I was treated. I was taught that when I go to speak, what I have to say is unimportant and ignored. Even though there were certain times that people would listen, especially when I would tell them my story about foster care, it was as if I was, people were in awe of when I shared my story when I was a teenager. They would say things to me like, well, you don't sound like you're in foster care. It's as if there was already a preconceived judgment against foster kids that many of us, and I know I'm not alone, I know there are people, even if you didn't grow up in foster care, maybe you were adopted, or maybe you always felt like you were, um, you know, like the odd one in your family, or maybe you just feel like something's not right, something is missing, like you feel like you are the stories of the ugly duckling, right? Where people made fun of the ugly duckling and then he became a beautiful swan, he or she, right? Believe that's the story. And so we have these things in the world called judgments or notions where people believe that in order to look a certain way, you got to sound a certain way. Well, I don't know how to describe foster care other than it was a very horrific, torturous place that I had to live for the first 20 years of my life. I say 20 because I was blessed, and I say blessed because most foster kids are um, put out on the street because the paycheck ends at the age of 18. I want to say something, and you don't have to agree with me, and that's fine. This podcast is not about like politics. I will add that the First Lady, President's wife, is currently, I believe they passed some bills or something along those lines where they're helping foster care agencies, let's just say, do better at transitioning kids out of foster care. Helping foster kids have a dream and a vision, whether it's college or, giving them hope. And I didn't really have that. So I'm sitting here today and can probably hear the emotion in my voice because sometimes a dream and a vision can seem so big beyond us that there are days like today where I have been having conversations with God saying, why did you give me this vision of using my voice, of building my podcast? I'm seeing all this stuff. I'm getting emails. I'm getting, people want my business. So people are reaching out to me in a somewhat unprofessional manner. I would say, if you want to really build a connection with somebody that has never met you before, don't start off with telling them how you can fix their stuff because that's a turnoff. And anyone who's building a business, there's tons of tools out there that you could do better. Oh, and remove the dashes from ChatGPT. Thank you. So I received an email today that sparked this. Um, and I got a lot of sleep over the weekend because my body's healing from Epstein-Barr virus and mono. Sleep is the number one thing and my energy that I have to protect at all costs, like Fort Knox. I'm talking negative conversations can't happen in my vicinity. Anything that causes my energy to go in a separate opposite direction. No, thank you. I've got to be very mindful, very protective. So I got a lot of sleep and I'm sitting here this morning and I'm like, everything just feels like a blur. Everything just feels like I'm trying to find the energy to, you know, go throughout my day. But all I had the energy for today was putting my a post on Facebook and Instagram about because I realized that if people are reaching out to me to get my business, that means my podcast is doing its job. It's getting views. It's viral. It means that people are finding me. Now, in a short amount of time, I would have to say that that is a freaking big deal. So I turned an irritation into a celebration because I found the win. Then, of course, your phone listens to you, right? So I have been seeing ads to grow my podcast as a business. But there was one caveat that I'm like, but I can't join your ongoing live thing because it's at the exact time that I'm at work and my job does not permit me to listen in live on calls because of the type of work that I do. So I was like, man, this looks like I'm finding, the right people to help me. And I am finding people. People are coming in my direction. I'm in, groups and things that my vision gets put right in front of me every single day by pressing play to what's called the Vision Espresso, which, by the way, I have shared before in previous podcasts. But today I'm going to drop a link for you to get started on your own Vision Espresso. Let's just call it it's your lifeline to your vision. It's your water. Just like the body can't live without water, it is your lifeline, water. This Vision Espresso is something you take a quiz, and I believe then you'll get the next steps and you'll get to feel what it's like to listen to your future self telling you what you have accomplished, all the things that you have done. And you get to have this vision play in your ear every single day. It's not a podcast. It's not a strategy. It's not a, hey, these next 5 things are going to help you become rich. No, it is a freaking, if you don't press play every day, if you don't do this, you run out of air. You run out of oxygen because those who don't have a vision, they perish. That's what the good book says. Also, when you don't have a vision, and I'm going to add this, or a dream, you walk around like an aimless, dead pile of bones. When you have a vision, the valley of dry bones get revived. Those of you who are listening, you might have read the story of Ezekiel. I believe it's in 37, right? There's this man named Ezekiel who God gives this like vision to or something where he's taken into a valley of dry bones. God asks him, I believe this is how it goes. God asks him the story. Go read it because I've read it. I'm not going to read it to you word by word. Google it if you have to. Um, and it's where God asks him, do you believe basically that these bones can be revived? And so I believe Ezekiel says yes. And then somehow a word is spoken, and then it's like if I were to put it in movie form, you see, if you've ever seen Lord of the Rings when they go into the cave, like the dead people, it's as if the Valley of Bones um, became alive again. Flesh started coming back on on the dry bones. Now imagine how creepy that would be. And it's like, dear God, are these people going to eat me? What are they? And no, it's an army of people that come together because now they're alive again. That's how I envision what it's like to have a vision. When you have a vision, you become alive and revived again. Now, don't get me wrong. Having a dream and a vision can feel excruciating. It can feel like really big. It can feel massive. It can feel heavy. It can feel like just some days you sit on the couch and you just weep because you are overcome with like, gosh, I'm seeing all these people do my dream and my vision, and yet here I am. What do I have to show for this vision that you gave me? And sometimes you might even question God, like, why would you give me this vision if what I see coming to pass isn't it? And it's as if we forget that what if we're already living in our dream? What if we're already living in our vision? Then what? So then I got to thinking about this vision I have with my podcast. Now, how is it that a girl, well, okay, I'm a grown woman, obviously, but a girl who was told in the foster care system and treated like her voice was trash, was told, shut up, you are to sit, say nothing, you are annoying, that's how I was treated. But there was something in me that kept, of course, yelling at and defying authority. And so I believe that was a God given gift to defy authority because now my vision is coming to pass. How is it okay, how is it that a woman put in the foster care system, fighting for her life every single day for safety, couldn't rest, couldn't relax, had to go in different foster homes, I think 13 total, including 2 group homes. So, but by the time I was 1, okay, nobody paid attention to the horrors that were going on behind the scenes. It's also due to getting exploited for money. But hey, as long as the kid is in a home, who cares, right? This is what I experienced. So, didn't matter what happened in the home. It was not, they didn't take it seriously. They ignored it, which they have to answer for that, not me. But here I am living my life, and all of a sudden, 3 or 4 years ago, I get this download, oh, hey, start a podcast. So at the time, I had a mentor that told me, hey, do a podcast. This is how you do it. And so I did it. I set it up. And at first, if you go back and listen to the old episodes that I have, like on Spotify and Apple, you'll see that, obviously I just started out. Now, I didn't know my vision. All I know is I needed an outlet to use my voice. I wanted what I've always wanted to do. What I have always wanted to do is to go on stages, share my story, and talk about the transformation, but weave it in using humor, using stories of my life to transform people's lives. They come in one way. Every time you walk in a building, by the way, you come in one way. But when you are in a very potent, pivotal, transformational place, you leave a different way. You are no longer the same, even if you don't recognize it. That moment. But that moment, your life changes because you've heard a message. You've heard the seeds planting that says, hey, I don't care what happened in your life. You don't have to walk around thinking that you're less than or that you're not worthy. Whatever happened to you, it's not meant to keep you in the pit. And I remember when I started speaking on stages at church, it was given the microphone out of trust. I believe it started in 2009, 2010, went on till about, I want to say 2019. I gave my testimonial of forgiveness. It was the first time I ever shared a part of my foster care story that I had never shared with people before. Because the very people that harmed me the first 10 years of my life happened to be at the church that I was at for 20 years. And I was afraid to share my story, and when I first started sharing my story, I felt like bears were chasing me because it was terrifying, because I was taught if you speak, you get beaten, you get abused, you get harmed. Speaking means harm. Speaking means fear. Don't tell anybody, because if you tell people, then nobody's going to believe you. Don't say anything because it'll ruin our image. Oh, what will the church think? Yeah. What will people think? hmm So lots more there, but I'm going to take pause with that. So it was the last time I shared on a church stage. Then I kept doing the Facebook lives and the stuff and doing all that stuff. And I think hadn't started my podcast yet, but I got in the spaces of people who helped me get to here before you. So I started sharing my story about 4 years ago. No, 5 years ago. And it felt terrifying because I was still under the trauma that I was going to get harmed. Like it feels like you are being chased by a bear. But I started this podcast about 3 or 4 years ago. And within the last 3 years, I can't explain it, but how do you explain a girl grew up in foster care, told her trash was voice, ignored, squelched, squashed, voice was basically trashed my whole life? How do you explain a podcast going viral in 6 months? Over 1,000 downloads, new listens, new people coming to my platform to listen, to my table, to my stage. Well, that's not all. It's continuing to grow. Since April, I switched platforms to Riverside, so I had a place to host it. Yes, I'm on Apple. Yes, I'm on Spotify. If you're listening, you have found me. Yes, I'm on YouTube, which happens to be one of the top places people are listening. Do I need to get in front of the camera to have a thriving podcast? No, I don't desire to grow my podcast that way. Why? Because God didn't give me that dream. He gave me the dream to speak, to use my voice. So I need an outlet, which I have. But it didn't come without a cost. How do you explain since October 1st of 2025? It is now July 6th, 2026. How do you explain a thriving podcast produced, edited, created by myself with no team of people? You want to know the team of people I've had around me are mentors, friends, peers. I have hired coaches and mentors, so I keep the vision. It's how I'm able to press play to that vision espresso. And let me tell you something. I can't explain it, but this podcast is growing every single day. I look at the stats. You want to know something else? There are people that are emailing me trying to get my business, but they've lost the art of connection and communication. There's only one group of people that actually reached out to me very recently within the last couple of 3 weeks or so. They got my attention. You want to know why? Because they built connection. They didn't tell me that they could fix my podcast. They didn't tell me what was wrong with my podcast. You want to know what they started saying? Is, hey, your videos came on my recommended. Um, your videos came to me as a recommendation on YouTube to listen to. I said, what? All I did was start a podcast, but I was more intentional to grow it. October 1st, 2025, my vision is starting to come to pass. My dream is happening. Oh my gosh, what the hell do I do? Do I stop? Do I quit? No, I just keep going and it's growing. I'm paying attention to the stats and I'm celebrating. Did you know that celebrating is the key to keep going so your dreams don't die? Your dreams are not meant to go to a graveyard. Neither is your vision. It's not meant to go to some grave. It's not meant to go to somebody else. You were given it for a reason. No matter where you're at, no matter where you're at, whatever that dream is, doesn't have to be somebody else's dream. But I am going to tell you there are things out there that can cause you to burn out from competition. Well, yeah, you want to know something? When you get a download out of the blue in within the last 3 months. Oh yeah, Tiffany, leverage your podcast for business. That didn't come from a person. That came from, I believe, God Himself was like, oh, here's an idea for you. Let's leverage your podcast for business. Okay, great, God. And how the heck do I do that? Now, I will tell you, when you have a dream and a vision, it will come to pass. We are told in the great book, the Bible, we're told to write the vision, make it plain. He who reads it is going to run with it. Now, I'm going to paraphrase this. You can go look it up. I've talked about it very recently in another podcast. You can go look it up. I think I called it one of the vision scriptures. It's one of the best ones out there. Now, there are distractions that can take you away from your vision. There are people who can take you away from your vision. And believe you me, it can be easy. But when you have a vision and you look like a crazy lady and you sound like a crazy lady to people who are boxing you in with language on how they think what you're talking about, what you mean by that, or how they think you're supposed to build your vision. What's very interesting is that there are certain people who assume that they know what you're talking about. And then, excuse the noise, there are people who take the time to ask the questions. Those are the people I would prefer to work with. Why? Because anyone who assumes that they know what I'm talking about has ended up putting me in a box and telling me, oh, this is what you mean by that. And I'm like, no, I don't want to grow my business with coaching. What I'm creating is a container, but it's not a coaching container. It's a place where people, it's a movement, reclamation, revolution, whatever I called it, the reclamation movement. I said I'm building a movement. It's my dream. It's my vision. It's where people pay to have access to my voice. You like the podcast? In that space that I'm building is where you get more access to me. That's the value. Podcast, you don't get access to me. Not, you don't get access. In my paid space is where the access, you get closer proximity. That's where you get to ask me questions. That's where you get to listen to a podcast episode, come in and pick my brain. You don't get to pick my brain for free. I mean, you can ask and I'll of course do my best to answer. Of course, reach out, do your, I urge you, leave me a testimonial. Give me a review, please. I'm asking you, review my podcast. Tell me how it has transformed your life. But don't do it for me, do it for you, but also it helps the show. And lets other amazing people know why you're listening, why they should listen. Also, I'm going to put in the show notes my email so you can reach out and send me the testimonial, and I'll somehow figure out a way to put it on somewhere on my podcast. I know there's a way. So I will do that. Figure it out. And also let me know how I can serve you. For that space that I am creating, the movement, how can I serve you? What can I help you with? Everybody looks at the money part and it's like, I'm not really here for the money. The money's part of it. Growing a movement, it didn't come, you know, growing a movement. Yes, that's a behind the scenes. That's a in-depth. You want access to someone who's lived the experience. Get in that space. And when I drop it, I know there are amazing, fantastic people who will be joining. And you're going to know like, oh yeah, I better get in that. Yeah. It's not for a short time. It's, it's a, it's a place I can see it growing a massive movement for amazing people. A dream and a vision doesn't come without a cost. And I can tell you, having a dream and a vision, do you want to know there are so many people that quit right before they reach the gold? There are people that stop because they don't think they're living their vision, or they think it's not big enough, or they compare it to what other people are doing. Did you know that your competitors, they didn't get here overnight? Your competitors did not get to where they're at overnight. One of the best things to know that you are giving people what they want, is do the research. Find out where they hang out, find out what they're doing, find out what they're buying. Find out what your competitors are doing. Find out what sets you apart. Find out what it is that people keep coming back to you for. When you give people what they want, guess what? They come back. Business owners, I believe a lot of what we have been sold is a glittery form of building something without having to do the parts that will actually bring us what we're hoping for. And not everybody wants to build a business, and that's okay. Just because you have a dream doesn't mean it has to be monetized. That's the other glittery sack of BS we've been sold. Hey, you have a dream, monetize it. What if I don't want to monetize it? What if I want to grow? What if I want to build a legacy for my kids where I'm the most healed version that they have ever seen? What if I want that? It can be done. It's grueling, it's excruciating, but your kids deserve a healed version of you. Hands down, no excuses there. There is no reason with all of the tools out there that parents need to be walking around with in their unhealed self. And I speak on that because I've done it and I do it. And I didn't know what I know now when my kids were small. So now I'm doing it for my grandkids and my great grandkids when they get here, right? My grandkids are too young to have kids. So when they are at that age and they have children, that will be a really cool thing because now we've built a legacy. And we can't do it by ourselves. Yes, you do need a team of people around you to grow your dream. But I'm going to tell you something before I start closing. There are distractions, there are forks in the roads that you will come up to when you are on your way to building your vision. And I told you, they come in the form of distractions. And you've got to be very careful not to get caught up in we call it shiny object syndrome. Because there are things that will lead you farther from your dream and your vision that faster. And getting back can take some time. Getting back to your dream and your vision is going to take work. But they can come in the form of opportunities. They can come in the form of people. People can be distractions. Groups can be distractions. Different opportunities can be distractions. Anything that pulls you farther from your dream and your vision is a distraction. This includes conversations. People are one of the biggest dream stealers out there. And when you have a dream, you won't allow people to steal it from you. Do you want to know one of the hardest things in building a dream? Especially when you're a visionary, you have a vision, you have a dream. One of the hardest things is there will be people around you that don't understand a freaking word you're saying. And do you want to know what it's like to feel like you have to defend your dream and vision? Because, like I said, when you're given a dream and a vision, a lot of people won't understand. Does it mean that your dream and vision was wrong? No. It just means that some people, they don't understand it. And the way that they can understand it is to box you in with boxed in language. For example, for me, one of the biggest boxed in terminology terms, I know I'm using big words today. Guess my brain is waking up. Yay. By the way, it's been my dream to have an optimized body. And I do take things to keep my brain focused, sharp, so I get natural energy, not crap, not the, what's it called? Not the crash and burn energy that's out there, but the long lasting, ongoing energy that provides clarity and focus and sharp and It's the ongoing, it doesn't go away. So I'll probably put in a link there too for you. Go and grab yourself some energy. It's called energy. You'll get focus, clarity. It's amazing. Vitamins. So when you have a vision and dream, there are people that will come along. There are opportunities that can come along, take you away from your vision and dream. Some of those, I saw something yesterday, and of course, you can go ask the author and creator, the dream giver himself, God, if this is truth. What I saw yesterday was a reel of how when you are aligned with where God is taking you, people will come along and try to steal your dream. And also the thing about that is also there will be opportunities that can come along and try to steal your dream. And the other part to that is you will come to forks in the roads where people try to steal your dream and decisions and all this other stuff. And then I'm like, but that's been me this for the for the last 6 months. And what looks right isn't always the right thing for you to be into. This is where you got to use wisdom. And yes, having a community can help you stay focused. And lastly, there are also people that will try to get you to do things based on what they think is the right way for you to go in building your dream. But here's how you know you are focused and that you are committed, that you are on the right track. I probably should have led with this, but I didn't think of it until now. You're going to want to come back and write this down. Number one, your dream and vision becomes so loud every single day. It's as if you can't think of anything else because it's like, if I don't get there, it's unacceptable. Number two, it can feel bigger than you. It can feel heavy. It can be weighted. This is how you know you're in alignment. It can feel like a very heavy weight to build your dream. Like, how the hell am I going to get there? What am I supposed to do? I got this dream to bring people, build a community, a mass movement. What the heck do I do? So you'll be left with questions. Number three, in alignment, there are people and opportunities that you will know without a shadow of a doubt whether or not you are supposed to engage, be a part of, and you will also know deep down in your soul and your spirit that that opportunity is going to steer you away from your dream. It's where you got to be very intentional. Number four, you'll know without a shadow of a doubt that you are on the right path because God will bring you confirmation in some way, shape, or form. For example, confirmation today. Oh, I could cry when I say it. But a few weeks ago, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, my brand searching was number 13 on Apple. Today it's number 10. I have moved on up to the top 10 searches on Apple for my podcast. Confirmation can come from people. Out of the blue, you'll get a message that says, "Man, I enjoyed your podcast. Thank you so much." Or you'll get a testimonial out of the blue. People are listening, but they're implementing. That is the highest honor. When people implement what I talk about, I am super honored. And I say thank you. And number five, it's it's gonna happen. It's gotta happen, right? Like you'll celebrate. You gotta celebrate along the way. And yes, in my paid spaces, Like, beyond this podcast, this is where the transformation happens. So, yes, I'm building it, and yes, I'm creating it. I've got a team of people that help build offers, a team of people that help me with this, a team of people. And in my space, we do celebrations because it's a way for to hold yourself accountable, but it's also to help you see the amazing things that happen no matter how big or small. And I celebrated today that I turned an irritation into a celebration because I got this thought. Wait a moment. This is not the first offer people have sent me. I'm getting a ton of people in my direction. I'm like, they're thinking that they have to fix something that doesn't need to be fixed. It's not broken. But I see it as holy shit. I'm getting views. My podcast is getting listened to. People, it's viral. That's part of my dream. But I didn't know how it would go. And last but not least, you keep going because you've got this vision that says, man, I've got people to reach. I've got one more person to reach. Who else can I reach? You keep going because you've got the fuel, you've got the energy. And yes, do supplements sustain your energy so you keep going? Abso-freaking-lutely. That's why I mentioned it. But also, when you share your vision, something else happens. You speak it. When you speak, things come to pass. But what are you speaking? And in my space, I will tell you, the paid space, that's coming because I'm building it. Thank God it's coming. So you got the podcast and then you got the paid space. This is where the transformation happens. It's where the value is. You want more of this? When I drop it, you're going to know. It's going to be a no-brainer. But when you have a team of people around you that can help you, you don't grow weary. I mean, even on days you're weary, maybe low energy, you won't quit. And I'm here to tell you something. If God, and ever since I was a little girl, even in the horrific foster homes that I was in, I still happened to have a vision that allowed me to hold on to the hope that one day I would be out of that miserable mess. But if God can give me a foster kid who was almost taken off the face of this planet since birth, and throughout my life things have happened, who 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 was told I would never amount to anything, who was told I wouldn't graduate high school but did, don't know how, but I did. With a C average, I walked across that stage, got my diploma. And for a girl who was told that I would be nothing but a foster kid for the rest of my life, I'm here to stand before you today and tell you that your dreams and your vision is possible. Don't you ever let anybody take that light away from you. So, thank you so much for listening today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day that you chose to fill up your cup. And then I'm going to ask you to go above and share this with a friend, share this with your loved ones. And by the way, don't forget to drop me a testimonial. I'd love to see, I'd love to celebrate with you as well. So thank you so much for listening today. That concludes today's episode.